Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. Hello. This is Dr. Bad Vibes. I've got some news and we're going old school today. We're going back to our roots. It's airplane news. So we've probably all heard about the Alaska Airlines flight and how the freaking door flew off the plane as it took off. How does that happen? You know, we know the basic story. The plane took off, the door flew off. What happened after the door plug blew out? So this is a little more detail about what happened. I guess to be more specific, it's a door plug, not an actual door. So it's an exit seal with a panel rather than used as a door. So luckily nobody was sitting next to the plug. This is a diagram of what those look like. Oh yes, right, we've got a flight attendant here, Marcia. As a former flight attendant, that's one of the reasons why passengers should always buckle up. Scary, but it can happen. Yeah, they turn those signs on for a reason. Next thing you know, they will try to convince us this is the new norm. Sometimes parts of planes just fall off. It happens. The Simpsons predicted this too. I know how is the Simpsons such a crystal ball? It's crazy. But yeah, so this is a diagram of the door plug. I mean, it's meant as an emergency exit, not, you know, a door. And again, this is the Boeing 737 MAX 9. Don't know how many of these planes are being used right now, but from what I recall, they're having to redo the training and update the manuals. So it's an optional extra door to allow for the approved number of evacuation paths. So I guess there's different options. They picked the wrong option apparently. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like they took, this is mostly from memory, they take off, plug flies out, everything depressurizes, the oxygen masks drop down, and they have to like make an emergency landing right where they took off. There's a little bit of science about pressurized air. So commercial airplane cabins have pressurized air so passengers and crew can breathe easily and maintain normal oxygen levels even while flying at a cruising altitude of more than 30,000 feet. So the air in many planes is kept at about the same pressure as what people experience at 8,000 feet above sea level. So if the hole opens up, all that pressure is going to fly out and it's going to get cold and you're not going to have oxygen. That's why the mask drops down. So it says this happened. Okay, here's more detail. This happened minutes after takeoff at 16,000 feet. God, it had to be scary. Luckily, they weren't so high that the depressurization was terribly forceful. I mean, I'm sure it was still pretty violent. Yeah, I mean, any kind of loss of pressure, everything's going to fly out. The air especially. Yeah, they're lucky it didn't happen when people were walking around the plane. So I can zoom in a little more. Here's a picture. Go away, ads. Picture of the plug in the flight there. Oh, here's a good question. What do pilots do in the case of a rapid decompression? So pilots try to get the aircraft to lower altitudes, probably at or below 10,000 feet where people can breathe more easily. So they were at 16. I mean, that's still quite a bit above, but hopefully they got down pretty quickly. You know, you're missing that plug. It's going to create drag. It's going to be hard to fly. So they landed 20 minutes after they took off. So this happened pretty quick. That's crazy. There's a little more of a first-hand account. If you ever watched Fight Club, that's like the fear you get after watching that movie. Like they focus on that. I'd be real careful if I was on that plane. This is some Final Destination stuff, man. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. I thought of like Final Destination and Fight Club. Elijah Wood and Edward Norton see these planes. They're like, nah. I think CBS, they had a little bit more detail on first-hand accounts. They focus on a 15-year-old had his shirt ripped off because the plug blew. So her description is she heard a really loud boom after it took off, and the plane just filled with air. First few minutes were chaos. The mask dropped down. She put hers on. There was a seat next to me that was open in the middle, and somebody just kind of jumped over me and plopped down the seat and grabbed a mask and put it on. It was a kid without a shirt on. And so they're just like, she's just like, where did he come from? Why is he not wearing a shirt? So yeah, it caught him so off guard, it ripped his shirt off. Oh yeah, so they couldn't even talk. I didn't even think about that. They couldn't talk because of the mask. So I was using the Notes app on my phone, and I just typed out, "Are you hurt?" He said his arm was a bit scratched, but he was fine. That's wild. Fortunate nobody got hurt from that. I think after an investigation, when they really looked at it, so when this all happened, it sucked the shirt off of a 15-year-old boy. The pilots realized that they accidentally had set the coordinates to the Epstein Island, and that's possibly what caused all this.